Hi, weaving people. Susan here. I haven't posted a video for a while, so I thought I'd just kind of give you an idea of what I've been working on. So, there are the pets, or some of the pets. And I'm still working on towels. I wove up a bunch of towels for Christmas, and I'm doing some towels for a housewarming gift, and then a couple of towels for myself because I never have any towels for myself. So that's what's on the loom. And I just wanted to show you on the back of my loom, first off. Okay, so when I thread my loom, I really try and keep the warp threads in order as I wind them on, but you can see here I got things crossed around, but it's not a huge problem. Everything seems to be feeding properly, and I haven't had a tension problem. So, don't panic if your warp threads get out of order. Sometimes that just happens. I have one warp thread hanging off the back of my loom, and that's because I messed up my threading. So I wound on, and this warp is like 10 yards, so I wound on 10 yards of warp onto this little plastic, I think this is used for mending nets, but it's really handy. And then I have an S-hook on there to weight it. And that seems to work just fine for me. Something else that I do, and I've gone over this in other videos, but when I wind my warp, I actually cut a piece of yarn that is the length that I want my warp to be, and then I use this string to tell me when I have enough turns on the wheel, so I don't have to count. And then if it unwinds correctly, it gives me an idea of how much warp I have left. So 2 turns equal a yard, so it looks like I have about 2 yards left. The yellow is my leader, so that doesn't figure into the equation, but and it's not exact science, but it kind of gives me an idea of how much I've got left. And I like to leave my spools on the loom, and then it's not so dangerous if someone accidentally runs into them, but they do get dusty, so a little bit of this and that. I was going to show you my spinning wheel, and one of these days I'm going to do a video on spinning. When I found out how expensive yarn is, I thought, well, I could learn how to spin. And I use this for wool yarn for like a rug or a blanket. The yarn that I use for my towels is cotton, and I buy that already done. I'm not going to get into spinning cotton. This gizmo here, the light's kind of coming in here at a weird angle, but this is a circular sock machine, and I don't have anything on it at the moment, but this knits as you crank around, and this is 3D printed out of plastic, and I'm pretty happy with it. I've been making lots of socks, so let's see. These are some socks I just finished up. Sorry about all the sun streaming in the windows. That's a little bit better. So, and been making socks for myself and for Christmas presents. So I have lots of practice here. I made a pair of mitts. So on my sock machine. I am really wanting to learn how to spin fine enough to make yarn that I can knit on my sock machine. And this is some yarn that I made and dyed, but I think it's still too fat, so I'll make something else out of it. This one might work. I need to test this out. So, but it'd make a nice scarf. And these are some pillows I made when I first started weaving on my Union 36. And this is some of my very first yarn that I made. Unfortunately, the assembly isn't great, but on this yarn, I didn't have to be really good at spinning. It's just kind of fun with all the colors and textures and stuff. So that's one. That's another. There's my Singer sewing machine with the walking foot. And I like to collect different textiles at garage sales. And I'm really interested in old textiles. Even before I started weaving, I was always buying different interesting textile things. I believe this pattern is called a huck lace, and so that's something I want to try someday on my other loom, not the Union 36. But what I'm really excited about is my Singer sewing machine, and I've spent the last few months kind of working on this a little bit at a time. But I bought this originally. I was going to turn it into a spinning wheel, and it set out in my garage for a couple of years, and then I started seeing people post about their Singer sewing machines and how they were sewing with them. And when I bought it, I was told it didn't work, and it didn't work when I bought it. But there's lots of videos on YouTube where you can get your sewing machine going. And it didn't have little handles, but you can find all kinds of parts for these. My drawer is missing bits and pieces. Some people really completely redo these, and I just wanted a functioning, working sewing machine, so I still got some rust on the base here. And this machine, I'm real excited. As soon as I get my towels done, I'm going to sew my hems on this machine, and I believe I can put my walking foot on this machine. So I had to order a few new parts. I had to order some new tension discs, and trying to think what else I had to get. Oh, I didn't have the Shuttle, and this machine is called a Vibrating Shuttle machine. I don't really want to sew with this without material in here, but this little case holds a little spool of thread, and this goes back and forth, and as it goes back and forth, the thread is caught. It's really kind of amazing how this works. This is the bobbin winder. So the bobbin goes on here, and as you treadle, you push this out, catches the belt, and it goes around the, let's see, I was going to show you possibly I was going to show you what the little bobbins look like. The other thing I'm really excited about, having a sewing machine with a cabinet, even though it's pretty beat up, is that, I actually have little drawers to put all my sewing supplies in. So this is what the bobbins look like. Pretty different from a modern machine. So I'll do another video when I actually start sewing the towels. And then one of the other things that I really want to try is free motion quilting with this as well. So that's what I've been working on, and I should be starting some new projects here before too long. Happy winter.